The last 4 months of the year, popularly referred to as Ember months, usually come with heavy rains, especially in the south, and harmattan haze. While there is no scientific proof that there is a lot of bad things happening during this period, atrocities associated with these months are man-made and avoidable. It has become imperative to sensitize road users on the need to drive safe and stay safe. And today on Panorama, we shall be looking at Ember Month's campaign and safety measures during the rains. I am Jenny Bassi. Welcome to Panorama from the Port Harcourt Network Center. President Muhammadu Buhari has advised political parties, candidates and security agents to behave responsibly in the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial elections. The president, in a message to voters, political parties, election officials and security personnel, reiterated the stance that, I quote, "I am passionately committed to free and fair elections, but my own commitment is not enough if other actors at ground zero refuse to abide by the rules," end of quote. According to the president, he said, and I quote, "I want to see democratic standards in the country raised higher at every level, but these cannot be achieved when politicians resort to do or die methods to gain power by any means or machination." He noted that do or die mentality to politics is a threat to free and fair elections and appealed to all political parties and their candidates to behave peacefully and respect law and order. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the restriction of vehicular movement from 11:59 p.m. on Friday, 18th September to 6 p.m. on Saturday, 19th September 2020. The IGP notes that the restriction order is informed the need to prevent the free flow, circulation and use of illicit arms and hard drugs and checkmate the movement of political thugs and other criminally minded individuals, especially from contiguous states, from hijacking and disrupting the electoral processes. He, however, warns that the force will not sit idly by and watch citizens who may want to engage in violent acts, snatching of ballot boxes, vote buying, vote selling, hate speeches, and other acts capable of compromising the electoral processes. The IGP enjoins citizens to go on en masse on the day of elections and vote, noting that the police and other security agencies have been sufficiently mobilized to provide a safe, secure and conducive environment for the elections. And the federal government takes hard decisions to reopen the economy even while the coronavirus pandemic is still posing huge challenge. Nigerians are advised to adhere strictly to established protocols in response to the COVID-19. As the nation prepares for schools resumption, 15 selected states are to benefit from the Global Partnership for Education funding to implement the National Education Plan on COVID-19. These are some deliberations at the National Economic Council meeting this Thursday. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
So the strongest weapon we have, even before we get to healthcare workers, are ourselves. So I really encourage all Nigerians to keep doing what we need to do.
Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekwazo, warning on potential danger that may be lurking in the downward trend in the number of infections being experienced across the states in Nigeria. The Director General, during his presentation at the National Economic Council meeting, commends state for taking actions to curtail the COVID-19 pandemic, but says Nigerians must not take this for granted.
On the strikes and agitation for strikes among healthcare workers, there's no doubt about it. This will really provide a real challenge to our country, to our health security, to our existence. So I really keep appealing, like our leaders have done, to healthcare workers. Yes, there are challenges for every Nigerian, but please, In the middle of a war is not really the time to go on strikes.
On preparation for reopening of schools, the Minister of Education gave a broad overview of the state of the education sector in the country and looked forward to how the nation can continue to educate the people in this difficult time. Governor Ahmed El-Rufai of Kaduna State, while briefing the press on this, says Abia, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Benue, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Kano, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Sokoto, and Zamfara states are to benefit from the Global Partnership for Education funding, which are the states that met 2 of the 3 criteria set by the donors.
Accelerating and strengthening the management of an electronic digital identity management system for all Nigerians. This will aid easy enrollment, retention and completion of learners at all levels, as well as curb and eliminate fraud, forgery, and alteration of certificates.
The governors say that they are in support of the schools' resumptions and that they are looking forward towards working with the federal government so that schools can be reopened and keep the education sector running.
Urgent action to ensure that dry season farming is provided for. Urgent action is needed to ensure the impact of recurrent flooding are mitigated. Investment in flood prevention infrastructure is paramount, very important.
For the excess crude account, the balance as at yesterday is put at $72 million, 408,743.16 cents.
The virtual National Economic Council meeting was anchored from the office of the Vice President. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
With the feelings of desperation towards meeting deadlines of targets and goals set at the beginning of a year, referred to as Ember Months, inappropriate observance of road etiquette during first period leads to various degrees of fatalities. This major issue, keen watchers say, should be checked by concerned authorities to avert high rates of road crashes. Ijoma Ugweke reports.
The Ember months are usually calendar months of September to December. It is a period that relatively sees upsurge in criminal activities and higher incidence of deaths and injuries through road traffic accidents, while some keen observers attribute mishaps during this period to human error and non-adherence to speed limits and traffic rules. Others emphasize the need for relevant authorities to do the needful to prevent carnages on the roads.
But we agree that it's a busy time. People are going for holiday. People have not traveled since January, so this is an opportunity to travel. And you know, in this part of the country, many of us don't take precautions. Don't use seatbelts, drive in the night, when roads are very bad, potholes everywhere.
Road, some part of the road actually are bad because of collapsed infrastructure. It's a challenge generally across the country. But here in Rivers State, the government is trying to improve on the road infrastructure. I think it's a plus. And but the road users too, no matter how perfect is the infrastructure, the human behavior, human character, and disposition must be changed.
The state of economy after the COVID-19, and preceding that, just 2 weeks ago or thereabout, the pump price of fuel have increased, the electricity tariff have increased, and that has a multiplier effect on everything. The only profit any businessman is expected to gain this year is to stay alive. So I urge every person to slow down and watch the year to end in peace.
With the periodic sensitization by the Federal Road Safety Commission and the impact of COVID-19 on economic activities, it is hoped that many Nigerians will comply with safety protocols to reduce the rate of accidents and its attendant consequences. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
On the heels of our reports, I have with me in the studio to provide perspective on how to reduce accident and avoidable deaths on our road And he is the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Rivers State, Salisu Omar Galanduchi. It is my pleasure to welcome you on Panorama, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, Ember months are here and usually associated with different myths and beliefs. Why is that so? And what is the focus of FRSC Ember Month Safety Campaign?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank the management of NTA for inviting me here and for doing a wonderful job in the partnership with FRSC for educating the Nigerian populace on the good road culture in the country.
Okay.
Now, the issue of myths associated with the Amber Month or superstitious things that are attributed to the Amber Month is not true. There is nothing superstitious, there is nothing mysterious about the last 4 months of the Amber Month, except the fact that the last 4 months of the Amber Month and the beginning of January are usually characterized by the increase of the high volume of a traffic movement of people, vehicular movement of people, as a result of people moving from one place to another, trying to achieve one thing or the other that they think they could not achieve or they cannot achieve from the beginning of the year.
Okay.
You know, it is our like a tradition here in Nigeria. By January, after celebrating New Year, you hear people making one, what do they call it, pronouncement or the other, making promises of things that they
like
think,
resolutions.
yes, resolutions that they think they want to achieve before the end of the year. So suddenly some people, as a result of one thing or the other, they now realize that they're already in September, October, November. Before you know it, you are in December.
Exactly.
And that is additionally, this is a period when you think majority of farmers, farm produce and these things are coming out from the farm, moving into the city. So those ones here in the South rivers in particular, you see that vehicles that are coming from the north carrying goods the number of the vehicles increase because of the high demand of meeting the demand of December end of the year activities. People will need more to eat. People will need more produce. So because of that one, more vehicles are coming. And the more and more people that are not travel throughout the year, that is the only time they normally have to come to meet the relation to celebrate with them. So that increment of vehicles on the road is naturally and usually associated with a road mishaps. But if we drive well, if we obey the traffic rules and if we are patient with the road, everybody will get to their destination without any problem.
Okay, well, talking about roads, let's look at our road. Our road culture is a far cry from international best practices. Okay. So how can we change the narrative?
You see, the government at the federal level is trying its best. And the state government here, in particular Rivers, I've never seen anything like that. Because since I came, to be candid and frankly speaking, I have not seen a bad road within Port Harcourt and some other places, except pockets of places like that. But 90% of the roads is either they are under construction or they are already constructed very well. You can see bridges here, garrison, artillery, and everywhere work is going on. So, but how we can change the narrative is when we know or where we know that a particular portion of the road is bad, we need to be patient with it. The road is safe, does not cause accident. It is a contributor, I agree, but it does not cause accident on itself because it is not the road that moves people. It is we, the people, that move on the road. So therefore, when we know there is a particular place that is bad, what we need to do is to be patient, to drive slowly and to drive carefully. If it is a pothole, what am I needed to do is to enter the pothole gently and get out of it and go where I want to go. But you see, people that are even familiar with a particular road, at the speed they are moving where the road is good, they will want to maintain that speed when they know the road is bad. And the tendency is when you enter a bad road or it's a pothole, there is probability the spring of the vehicle may break. There is a probability you have a breaker from the shock absorber. There is high probability you may enter and have a tire burst. And when that things happen, the vehicle will skid off the road, will lose control completely, will run into the bush, somersault, and kill people and injure people. So that's why we usually see the road is is safe. Bad road is safe alone does not cause accident, because it is the human being that drives the vehicle. It is we that are supposed to control. It's we that are supposed to use our intellect to manage the road and get to where we want to go.
Okay, let's look at the flood prediction by NIMET, and Rivers State being among the states which will be affected. Now, how prepared is RSC in making the road safe for the motoring public?
We are prepared very well. We in Rivers State here, we have mapped out some strategies. You know, everything that we are going to do this year. This year is a unique year. It's an exceptional year, given the fact that we are, since right from the beginning of the year, we are experiencing a coronavirus pandemic. So because of that, COVID-19 comes with its own protocols. And the protocols that we have to obey is from the presidential task force at the federal level and the state task force here. Each state has their own federal government combined together. Well, the FRC has played a great role in that task, taking this thing, ensuring the fleet operator, ensuring the parties that they abide by the rules by providing hand sanitizer, a face mask for passengers, social distancing, and all that. So this year, we also, in Rivers State, we have designed our activities in line with COVID protocols. It is not going to be the last gathering that we see last year and the year before. We have designed in such a way that it will accommodate COVID-19 protocols. The first thing that we do is majority and most of the activities we are going to do is through the media, like this one.
Okay.
The social, the electronic media, the television, print, and everything. Then the other phase is we are going to go out to, we already started religious faith organizations, the churches, the mosques, to meet them directly, to talk to the congregants and how they can stay alive.
That means there are collaborations with other stakeholders.
Yes, other stakeholders. That is what we intend to do. And moving to garages, meeting the fleet operator directly to talk to them how they can abide by that one, and so on and so on.
Okay, so do you have briefly your parting words for the people?
The parting of the people is only the living that celebrate. You can hear from the last speaker, he said the only profit that the businessman gets for this year is for them to stay alive. So the only benefit for us that we have with all this pandemic that we went through is for us to stay alive, to be able to see 2021. All
right. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. That was the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Rivers State Command, Salisu Umar Galanduchi. You're welcome. We now go for a brief break. Panorama continues shortly. As most state governments announced the reopening of schools amongst the COVID-19 pandemic, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is insisting that COVID-19 guidelines and protocols should not be compromised to prevent a second wave of the pandemic, as witnessed in some countries of the world. Mitaire Ben reports on Thursday's briefing by the task force.
It's already 6 months after the PTF was inaugurated to coordinate the national response against COVID-19.
We are beginning to notice that the curve is flattening. However, as we have always stated, this positive development should be taken with vigilance and cautious optimism.
On the reopening of schools,
it is no longer in our hands to decide whether Alimosho Primary School should open or not. It is the local authority there. They get to decide whether they are ready and they are prepared with all things.
It is far more important to be vigilant and to monitor symptoms. And for children where you have families that are infected, making sure that that's picked up early and the children are stopped from going to school.
To the principals, to the schools, to the authorities, no crowding, washing of hands, spacing even in the classroom and outside the classroom.
There is also advocacy for caution during the Edo governorship election.
Providing additional polling stations or booths to ensure physical distancing can be maintained with clearly marked floors and demarcation to enforce 2 meters spacing on queues. Mandating the use of face masks for everyone regular cleaning of polling stations, tables, and other surfaces.
The task force says the ongoing joint health sector union strike is affecting the lives and health of citizens and appeals to Johesu to call off the strike. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
131 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 were reported in Nigeria. Until date, 56,735 cases have been confirmed, while 48,092 cases discharged. 1,093 deaths have been recorded so far. And the 131 new cases are reported from 18 states, which are Lagos, 45, Kaduna, 17, Plateau, 17, FCT 16, Delta 6, Niger 6, Kwara 5, Oyo 3, Akwa Ibom 2, Cross River, Ekiti, Enugu, Osun, and Sokoto have 2 cases each, while Bauchi, Ebonyi, Katsina, and Rivers have 1 case each. Research has it that the more people interact, the more closer they become, just as the longer the interaction at a time like this, the higher the risk of contracting or spreading COVID-19. As communities, businesses, and other public places open up with people attending events, risk of exposing older adults who are vulnerable to the pandemic is one aching issue among stakeholders. Maureen Leo Ajom takes a look at the agent at this time of the pandemic.
Investigations reveal that the risk for severe illnesses arising from COVID-19 among older persons increases as they age. Although factors such as having underlying medical condition can also increase one's risk of coming down with the illness, understanding such factors may readily prompt one's decision on precautions to take. Inasmuch as it is a joyful thing to have the age around the young in a friendly atmosphere, there is great caution these days, and as experts advise, limiting interactions with people as much as possible and observing safety precautions are some ideal tips for self-protection and to flatten the curve of the pandemic. Healthy lifestyles with proper nutrition, experts say, have an important role to play here.
Be careful with what you do with yourself. What you eat, where you go, and whom you interact with. I'm trying to follow it up. I have running water. Anybody that comes to me will wash his or her hands.
Knowing what to do before this time, and you don't need to be told.
Religious organizations, caregivers, and the older adults are being encouraged to ensure strict adherence to COVID-19 protocol. The older citizens are generally termed as great assets and are custodians of national history, culture, and norms. Losing them to the dreaded COVID-19 can be a threat to the existence of the traditions of the people of Nigeria. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And now sports. Nigeria moves 2 steps upward in latest FIFA ranking. Tamara Ibiwe has this and more on Sports Update.
Nigeria Super Eagles move up from 31st to 29th position in the latest FIFA World Ranking released Thursday. The new ranking saw the Super Eagles occupy 3rd position in Africa behind Senegal and Tunisia. However, Super Eagles opponents in the Africa Cup of Nations 2021 qualifiers, Benin Republic, Lesotho, and Sierra Leone did not make any progress in the ranking. Belgium, France, Brazil, and England are all in the top 5. In the meantime, the Confederation of Africa Football, CAF, has fixed November 2020 for the commencement of the Champions League and Confederation Cup for the 2020-2021 season, with Nigeria presenting 4 teams in both continental competitions. Come on, let's go.